What's up YouTube? It's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and I'm back with another episode of the NBA Mythbusters series. Now for those out there who are new to my channel, who are unaware of this series, what I tried to do with this NBA Mythbusters series is take some common belief ideas or some arguments that I constantly hear within the NBA community, put them to the test and see if they're true or not. And if they are false, just like the title says, we're going to be busting some myths. So in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is LeBron and his statistical achievements after playing 1,072 games in the regular season. Now the reason why this is so important is because throughout Michael Jordan's career, he too has played 1,072 regular season games. And it's a little interesting to see, just on a comparison level, what exactly they both have achieved throughout their career after playing the exact same amount of regular season games. Now the reason why I didn't make this video sooner is because I've been following these numbers pretty religiously over the past 2 years now. And so I just let it come and go without making a video because nothing was that surprising. But there are many people in the NBA community who constantly make the argument that the reason why LeBron is a better player than Michael Jordan is simply because of statistics. Statistically speaking, LeBron has achieved more than Michael Jordan. And even though that does sound okay on the surface level, and we are all aware of how LeBron fills up the stat sheet, and that is definitely part of his game, is that actually true after they've played the exact same amount of regular season games? Now let's be completely clear here before I even break down this argument. Comparing two different players who played in two different eras, who have two different responsibilities for their teams, it's extremely ignorant to try to compare both of their games purely off of stats. And actually this is something I would only expect a novice to do, someone who is ill-educated about the game of basketball. But don't get me wrong, I thoroughly understand why people are doing it, because it is a little fun. But the one thing that I completely don't understand is when you have certain people such as Nick Wright make this argument and try to belittle what Michael Jordan has accomplished, despite the fact that Michael Jordan actually does achieve a little bit more than LeBron has after playing the exact same amount of games. And if you don't believe me, let's hear from Nick Wright himself.
But now that we're at game 1,072, let's just do a tail of the tape. LeBron has more assists, LeBron has more rebounds, LeBron has a higher field goal percentage, LeBron has a higher three-point percentage, LeBron has a higher box score plus minus, LeBron has a higher value over replacement player, LeBron's been to more NBA finals, LeBron has more everything in the playoffs. So statistically, here's what Jordan's got. He's scored more. Yeah, inefficiently compared to LeBron, because he shot more.
Now the reason why it's so important that I show you that clip is because there's multiple people who share the exact same belief of Nick Wright, claiming that Michael Jordan, the only thing that he has over LeBron is scoring, and also throwing the inefficient label out there is just the cherry on top of it all because it's just a ridiculous thing to say. But if you don't believe me, here are the numbers themselves. So after playing 1,072 regular season games, LeBron leads Michael Jordan in rebounds, assists, has a better field goal percentage and three-point percentage, but that's really it. And then when it comes to Michael Jordan, he has scored more points, recorded more steals, blocks, fewer turnovers, while shooting a significantly better percentage from the free throw line. So what exactly is the argument here? Quite honestly, coming from someone who's not biased at all, a lot of these numbers are just really close. And again, the reason why I didn't make this video earlier is because looking at these numbers, I would just deem it a tie between the two. But if we're going to be nitpicking between one player and another, especially again when you're labeling Michael Jordan inefficient, when the difference between their field goal percentage is by 0.5% and the difference between their three-point percentage is less than 2%, yet the difference between their free throw percentage is almost a margin of 10%, and yet Nick Wright didn't even bring that up. I mean, again, these numbers are close, but they still favor Michael Jordan in more categories. And even for the people out there who want to point out the advanced analytics, again, let's be clear about this. I don't use advanced analytics for multiple reasons, but when you're comparing two players from two different eras, it's even more ridiculous. We're talking about one player in Michael Jordan who played in an era where advanced analytics didn't even exist, and LeBron, another player who plays in an era where not only does advanced analytics exist, but advanced analytics plays such a prominent role in today's NBA that it has actually altered the way that many players and teams play the game of basketball. But let's look at some of these commonly used advanced analytics. LeBron does indeed have a higher number when it comes to value over replacement player, a higher box score plus minus. Also as a side note, he has a higher offensive and defensive box score plus minus as well. Then when it comes to true shooting percentage, that also favors LeBron. But then when it comes to PER, it favors Michael Jordan. When it comes to win shares, it favors Michael Jordan as well. Again, as a side note, when it comes to offensive and defensive win shares, along with win shares per 48, All of those favor Michael Jordan as well. Then when it comes to usage rating, that also favors Michael Jordan, and then offensive rating favors Michael Jordan as well, and then finally defensive rating, they are tied. So again, if we're being unbiased here, Michael Jordan leads LeBron in more advanced analytics, despite the fact that he played in an era where these numbers did not even exist. So again, what is the argument here? And even for the people out there who point out the playoff numbers, because I know Nick Wright brought up that segment, and I know people are going to say this in the comment section below as well, when you look at their playoff numbers after they played the exact same amount of games, the only thing that LeBron leads Michael Jordan in is rebounds, assists, and blocks. Outside of that, Michael Jordan leads LeBron in every other statistical category. And for the people out there who are questioning how exactly is this possible, because we are all aware that LeBron has scored more points than Michael Jordan in the postseason despite the fact he is taking fewer shots. The only reason why that's possible, despite the fact that Michael Jordan has a better 3-point and field goal percentage, is simply because LeBron has attempted way more 3-pointers, so it's made up for the lack of 3-point shooting and especially the free throw shooting from LeBron. But that's the only reason why. If you want to look at their percentages all favor Michael Jordan. When you look at the fewer turnovers, the steals, the points, again, all favor Michael Jordan. But again, I want to be very clear with this. If you're talking to someone who's unbiased, such as myself, these numbers are close, like so close that, again, I would deem it a tie, which is why I didn't waste my time making this video until now. Now, the reason why I made this video is not necessarily to expose Nick Wright. Shout out to my man B-Sos because he already did so, and anyone who knows anything about basketball thoroughly understands that Nick Wright is a clown when it comes to having any form of education about the game of basketball. But the reason why I made this video is simply because I wanted to clear the air when it comes to this idea that LeBron statistically is far more better than everyone else because he fills up the stat sheet. Is LeBron a great player? Absolutely. One of the greatest players of all time, and if anyone makes his argument that he's not at least a top 5 player, they're ridiculous. But this idea that LeBron is the only player who fills up the stat sheet, who stuffed the box score, is ridiculous. There's multiple players in today's NBA who do the exact same thing. Russell Westbrook, Ben Simmons, Giannis, DeMarcus Cousins. Then we go back even further to players such as Kevin Garnett, Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, and Michael Jordan. All these players filled up the stat sheet in various ways, they just did it a little bit differently from LeBron. So this idea that LeBron, he is better than everyone else just off of sheer statistics is ridiculous. And also, again, it takes a novice to even make an argument such as this. We're talking about one player who is 2 inches taller than the other one, who weighs 50 pounds more than the other one, who plays a position that's more prone to grabbing rebounds than the other one, and yet the difference between LeBron and Michael Jordan when it comes to rebounds is 1 rebound. That's not a significant gap for anyone to make a legitimate argument between the two if we're just looking at sheer regular season numbers that one player is vastly better than the other one. Especially when you consider that Michael Jordan has actually grabbed more offensive rebounds than LeBron has, despite the fact that also Michael Jordan played in an era where big men were way more dominant, and Michael Jordan played on teams where he was surrounded with great rebounders such as Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. So again, this idea that we can just look at numbers and come to some conclusion that one player is better than the other is ridiculous because there's way too many variables that you have to account for when you're comparing two players if you're just going to purely look at stats. But again, even if we were to do so with Michael Jordan and LeBron, the numbers are so close that anyone who's unbiased will clearly tell you that it's not a definitive answer to which player is better than the other. Which is why we have to look at other aspects of basketball, such as championships, to determine which player is better than the other. But if you don't believe me, just look at their averages, erase the numbers from the stat lines, and honestly ask yourself, could you definitively tell me which player was better by just looking at those numbers?